right, thank you so much for joining us on our 109th edition of Lunch Out Loud Ottawa. My name is Nick Petruski.
And I'm Andrew Miller.
And of course, as always, we are the podcast that talks to the people, places, events, and music that make this city the incredible city that it is. And of course, subscribe to us on iTunes, share with your friends, tell other people. If they're on the bus and they're just listening to commercial after the commercial, tell them to listen to this show. Why not? Before we get to our special guest, Billy from Baroness Chocolate, why don't we check this out?
Hey Lunch Out Loud, this is Doug.
And I'm Colin.
And we play in an Ottawa-based pop-punk band called Bearings.
We just released our EP Higher Ground and hope you enjoy listening to our stuff.
We have a show coming up on March 17th at Leaky Bees.
We hope you come check us out and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/bearingsisaBand.
Stay pizza!
Catch your breath so I can figure out just what I said tonight. I'm searching for the answer to my life. It's anything that helps me through this life. I'm asking for assistance, need a guide. 'Cause I've been up all night, waiting to sail through every darkest sky to leave the past behind. I've been up all night, waiting to sail through every hopeless side, leave the past behind.
All right, thank you so much, Bearings. So that song was Up All Night, and an excellent punk rock group from Ottawa. So I hope you hear a lot more from them in the future. Awesome music coming up. The Ontario scene was just announced, and they're involving a lot of the legendary Canadian acts with local Ottawa acts. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So Jen from Foodie Prince will be coming on at halftime today. She's going to be talking about her and Dawn's experience at The Counter, #The Counter, at Lowertown last week. So I'm excited to hear about that. I think a little mention again about the Care For chocolate competition coming up this Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
There's less than 100 tickets remaining, and that always sells out.
Wow. Where is that being held?
That's I forget where it's held, but Jen will tell us at the break. And the last days of Winterlicious are going on, so get out to get some very cheap meals in the market and some great ones going on. So we're here with Billy from Baroness Chocolates. We're at 2212 Gladwin, so off St. Laurent, and I think this is the best smelling office we've been to yet.
As soon as you open that door, it just hits you in the face and it's delicious.
That is a very good smelling. And if you notice that we're a little more chipper today, it's because we tested about 7 amazing chocolate bars before.
7 and then some other samples of products before they went into the bar. So, yeah, I got my chocolate fix for today.
So it was very good. Thank you so much for that, Billy, and educating us a bit on the chocolate experience, which I'm not, I don't think a lot of people in Ottawa get the full experience of chocolate like they're going to get from you when they see you in the future.
Thank you. Introducing people to chocolate is a true pleasure.
Yeah, and so I guess before we'll talk more about chocolate, we like to get to know about our guests. Were you born and raised in Ottawa, and kind of like favorite restaurants or favorite things you like to do in Ottawa?
Well, yeah, I was definitely born and raised here. I'm turning 50 this year, so I'd say I know Ottawa pretty well. Thank you very much. I grew up in the restaurant bar business. My father first opened his first restaurant, the Mayflower, in 1954.
Wow.
And then he opened Yesterday's. Or wait, was it Yesterday's and then the Mayflower? I think the Yesterday's in 54.
And Mayflower
and it was called Sherry's back then.
Mayflower's just closed too, right?
Mayflower. Yeah, it closed, and he actually at 85 reopened it into Deacon Brody's.
Oh, he was the owner of it.
Yeah, he still is.
Wow.
So he's a hands-on operator who's built restaurants and bars and pubs throughout the region for the last 60 years and has a very good relationship with the marketplace, and the people really thought well of him and his businesses. So I grew up around foods, around serving people, and realizing very quickly that the people in Ottawa, when they get to go out for lunch, it's not just a meal. It's an escape from the building. It's an escape in their day. It's a moment of pleasure. And watching them, treating them, caring for them, there's an immediate reward, almost like a comedian gets from telling a joke. You get the laughter back. Yeah. But when you care for someone and you see you've rejuvenated them, nurtured them, made them feel better, you've seen their smile and their energy return to them, there is that immediate gratification for the caregiver. And I enjoyed that very much. So I guess as I grew up and moved on, I stayed with restaurants and bars, and then later on took care of people in the security industry for 10 years with my brother's business, security.ca.
Oh, wow.
And then I decided it was time for me to get back to nurturing people with food. Wow. And chocolate was the choice.
So you must know a lot of good restaurants then, obviously. Are there any favorites besides, obviously, the ones that your father owns that you used to frequent? Or?
I don't know. If you don't go to my family's restaurants, really, no. Truthfully, there are so many good restaurants and so many good chefs and all the rest, but Ottawa restaurants are not consistent. There are so many great ones. You go one day and it's fantastic. You go the next day, the service isn't there, the chef's not there, in mindset, it may not be the same. Yeah. But there are so many fantastic restaurants in Ottawa. You just got to keep going out and have a little forgiveness if they're not 100% that day, because they generally are very good.
Do you think they're changing at all? Do you think they can change?
What?
To get to the level of
consistency
that you want.
There was a restaurant owner in Paris who wrote a book called Covadas, and it was the name of the restaurant. And the book he wrote was called I Shall Die on the Carpet. It's out of print now. It's so old. But it was the story of a restaurateur. And he went to work at 7 in the morning. And he walked the floor and checked at the carpet and pulled the little fires out. He looked at the tables and chairs. And as the restaurant got ready, he checked the salad bin to make sure there was no water in it. As the customers walked in, he complimented each one and sat them down. And he checked that the flowers at each table were perfect. And the customers were amazed by the food and the service. And he stayed there throughout lunch, the afternoon, getting ready for the dinner. And as dinner came and went, he did the graciousness. He walked the floor, looking at the table, see, oh, the spoon should have been removed. That person might need a fork. Their napkin fell on the ground. I'll put it back in their lap. I'll give them a fresh one. All the subtleties of service, so he knew before the customer spoke what they required. At the end of the day, at 11 o'clock, he would go home to work another day, and he'd work 6 to 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. That nature of ownership, that nature of compassion, commitment to your customers, to walk the carpet perpetually, I think that is a lost art. Mm-hmm. And maybe it should be, because you should have a life outside of work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think that is the difference between excellence and very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are many very good restaurants. There might be a couple of excellent ones.
Yeah, right on.
Well, that's a great, and we hope to focus. I hope this is an excellent podcast, not just a very good one, but we hope to be excellent in the future and all of that. So let's get into chocolate, because I find it amazing that it's such a competitive industry where it's such a varied industry. You'll go to your convenience store, you'll see the dollar store, you'll see chocolates for 50, 45 cents. And there's such a range, and now, and for somebody that like me that can't keep track, and then you have Godivas in the mall, and you have so many different ranges. How did you get involved to go, you know what? I know I can create something better. I know I can do this. I think it's incredible.
10 years ago, I got divorced, and I was 40 years old. Grew up in the restaurant food industry. Love food, love experience. And I took my dog for a walk at the end of that day, and I went to sit down and have my childhood favorite candy bar, which was a Kit Kat. And I tasted it. And it was terrible. I read the label, and it had balsa wood, and it had sugar, and all these things I didn't even recognize what they were in the chocolate. And the chocolate did not taste well. It said smoother, which meant less cocoa flavor, more vegetable oil. Yeah. And it's funny, you're right, there's a range. That chocolate bar inspired me or the lack of pleasure from that chocolate bar inspired me to start looking for a new chocolate, because obviously my childhood favorites were no longer satisfying. I went the next day out and I went to the convenience store and I bought all the candy bars there. Now, the difference between a candy bar and a chocolate bar is a chocolate bar by law cannot have any more than 5% vegetable fat.
Oh, really?
A candy bar may not have 5% cocoa mass or cocoa butter.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's a very big difference. Not that they don't have chocolate in it, it's just the marginal amount. That's one thing about chocolate.
How'd that guy look at you when you grabbed every chocolate bar and put them on the counter?
He asked me if I was going to end up in a diabetic coma. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to eat them all. I might nibble them all, but I don't think I'll eat them all. Then I went to an upscale chocolate shops, boutique, and bought their $10, $12, $14, $15, and $16 chocolate bars. They too thought I was a little nuts buying a range, but they were more subtle about the conversation. And I went home and I tasted them. And these were very European by nature. They were thin and intense. You would have a bite and go, wow, that was powerful. Almost like a shot of pure vodka. You know, it's not like a screwdriver. It was just really hard alcohol. And this was hard chocolate. I mean, it was from the very basis and very, very rich. And one of them, Vosch, had a chocolate that was so rich, and in it was shaved, roasted coconut shell, charcoal, as a flavor crunch in it. I thought, with banana. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. I tried it. Well, it took me a month and a half to eat that whole chocolate bar based on nibbles. It was a unique flavor, but not something I would indulge in. You know, it wasn't... I relate food to passion. You give someone a hug, you want to give them a kiss. You want a kiss, that's really a kiss that you want to keep kissing. You don't want to kiss on the cheek and go, oh, nice to see you, bye, right? And I think chocolate often is like that. It's not as fulfilling as a romantic reaction you want to have. And so I was trying to find that balance between the chocolate we grew up in, whether it be a simple or a Seacord's, which again is not the same quality as it was growing up, or a absolutely delicious European chocolate. But even Lindt has 4 types of chocolate. When they came out originally with their little red chocolate truffle ball, it was fantastic. It was pure chocolate. It was curvature covering chocolate that was really intense. Today, that's chocolate ball is made with vegetable oil.
And is the specific reasoning for this more dollars and cents, that they're just trying to save money, or?
Cocoa bean, and absolutely yes, cocoa bean has very little cocoa fat in it. A drop of it, right? Cocoa mass, you got $6 a kilo. Cocoa fat is $25 a kilo. So a 100-gram cocoa bar, if it was just cocoa fat, would be $2.50 of product cost. Would retail to a $12, $14 retail cost.
Gotcha.
Very expensive product, very rare. It's such good fat, though. It's the best fat in the world. It actually eats away bad cholesterol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cocoa fat's incredibly wonderful, good stuff, but it is absolutely outrageously expensive. And so everyone in the industry tries to reduce the amount of cocoa fat in it. When I realized the covering chocolate on a truffle was the key to the chocolate flavor of a truffle. The inside of the truffle is chocolate mixed with sugar or some other filling.
Okay.
The only real pure chocolate and cocoa fat is on the outside. I said, well, that's covering fat. Well, if it's so good just to wrap it, why wouldn't I make it out of a bar out of it? Well, the cost, right? The cost is absolutely, I think we're the least profitable chocolate bar on the market because we put so much of the good stuff in our bar and we don't cut any corners.
Wow.
Well, it's sure delicious. You can taste it. You can taste the difference. And I eat a lot of chocolate. A lot.
Thank you.
I'm one of those guys where, and I get this from my mother, where if there's any chocolate in the house anywhere, you better hide it, otherwise I will eat it all.
I'm the exact same way.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. When's the last time you